let's get started. Let's talk about power creeping and why it's a bad thing. Initially, I created a post roughly a day ago questioning if I should make a video if power creeping is a good and bad thing and why it is, right? People said yes. After really thinking about it and going over it with myself because I have no friends, I decided that this is only going to be a negative video. There really isn't no good, right? To power creeping. I do want to point out that this video is going to be catered towards free to play players. If you do not fall in this category, you might find this video not as relatable as most people will, right? Which is understandable because I specifically make content catered towards free-to-play players since that's the majority of people and free-to-play slash light spenders, like very light spenders such as myself, right? So with all that being said, I want to put out a couple of disclaimers. That's one, I have a stuttering problem. It's abundantly clear I've already stuttered. And two, I have a cat and a dog in a room, so you might be hearing background sounds, but be mindful. They're both only one. My cat is literally a year old and like like a year and 20 days old. Okay, well that's besides the point. Let's get into it and the topic at hand. Why is power creeping a bad thing for free-to-play players? Let's talk about the history of power creeping, right? Before anything, if you don't want to hear that, chapters are in the bottom. So if you just want to skip to the good part, then you may, right? So let's get into it, right? Power creeping has always been a thing in Honkai Star Rail ever since version 1.3, if I recall correctly. That's when it really got going, and that's when people started to talk about it more and more. But it wasn't that bad because when I believe it was Imbibitor Dong Hong and Fushuang released, it was talked about, but the reason why it wasn't that big of a deal was because it was the first time it ever occurred. So it's like whatever, first time, maybe it's the last for a minute. But no, it kept on happening, and the reason why it it wasn't that talked about or it wasn't as bad is because the characters that power crept the other characters wasn't by a big margin, right? It's obviously considered. Oh my god, I stuttered. Okay, edited me, cut that out. Obviously it was considered power creep or power crept or power creeping, but not by that much. The only main issue was how characters the only main issue was how easy it was. Oh my god, how easy it was for set characters to dish out the damage. For instance, in Bybiter Dong Hog required a skill investment. Not a skill investment. Required some form of skill to play him, right? As for Jinglu, she was a lot more easier, did a tad bit more damage, and she was hotter. So so there's a difference there, right? But it wasn't that bad, right? It was, but wasn't at the time compared to now. And that's basically how all of 1.0 was a character did get power crept, but it wasn't that bad until Ron May's release, who she definitely power crept every single form of harmony. Even to now, it's very hard to say that Robin is better than Ron May. In my opinion, she isn't, but hey, that's my opinion, right? Ron May provides so much, right? So then, now let's skip into patch 2.0, right? I feel like that's where power creeping really begun because Black Swan and Sparkle more or less has more of an had more of an impact than Black Swan, right? All Black Swan did was semi power crept Pella and Silverwolf, and definitely made DOT team a lot more stronger, right? I I know saying that she power crept Pella is kind of iffy, but I'm saying semi for a reason because she does damage and she does do defense shred, but nowhere close to as potent and how Pella does it, right? So whatever, right? I just do want to say that the reason why this topic has been a bit abundant now is because Sparkle power crept the living crap out of Brown, which isn't a bad thing, but it happened super fast in my opinion. I feel like harmony characters or support characters shouldn't be power crept that fast because they're supposed to last in the meta a lot longer, right? That's just my mindset. Obviously I could be wrong, 1000% I could be, and I'm open to people changing my opinion or attempting to, because you know, hey, everyone's wrong, and I don't mind being wrong. I just want people to explain why I'm wrong than just saying I'm wrong. So let's continue a bit, right, and talk about why this is an issue. Let's say, for instance, Jing Let's say Jing Lu is my favorite character in the game. She is currently, as I'm recording this in May 5th, 2024, the second best DPS character in the game. But how effective or how short, like how much, like, okay, let's see how I can word it. I'm so sorry. How much value comes with that name being the second best in the game? Obviously, you're not the first best, but you're the second best. And the reason why it's not really that like, oh, but she's still the second best, is simply because yes, she's the second best, but let's look at the numbers. Maya Acheron, the highest number that I've hit with her, my god, in MOC, Jesus, the highest number that I've ever hit with Acheron in MOC was 1.9k E0S1. My supports aren't even that invested. Wherefore we compare Jing Lu, she has only hit 300k. Again, my supports aren't that invested. I'm making that known for people, for you know, to hopefully prevent an argument. My supports aren't invested. I invest more in my sustainers and in my DPS characters, right? So that's what I mean on how much value being the second best in the game really holds. Because yeah, she's the second best, but look at the difference. She's easily replaceable, and that's the issue. Because if my favorite character is Jing Lu, but she struggles to clear content now, what's the point of pulling for her when in 2 patches she might be pretty much the third best, which isn't that bad in theory, but in actuality it is. Because let's say we have a character like Buhil, who for sure will power creeper. He's easily doing her types of numbers on a single target, and we've all seen the leaks. If you haven't, then go see them. But let's just talk about from what the live stream showed us, right? Buhil, you know, he's a cool guy for sure, right? And he's definitely gonna power creep Jing Lu, despite the fact that he's a hunt character, right? And then we have a character like Jade and Firefly/Sham in the upcoming future. Firefly/Sham is a destruction character. This is where this is what I mean on how, like, okay, I like Jing Lu, but how good is she compared to these characters? And how much value does the phrase second best DPS character in the game currently have with when we're talking about her or comparing her? Obviously, in the future, when we're comparing characters like Acheron to Sam, maybe Sam might be the second best, or most likely Acheron. Then that's when that phrase has more value to it, because it's more like, okay, well, I mean, Acheron hits 1.9 mil, but my Sam/Firefighter hits 2 mil. The damage difference isn't that significant, so it's like, who really cares, right? But then you have the third best, which would be Boothil, who does like 300k on a single target, right? And then he continues doing more, like 300, 400 to 500k. And then we have fourth place Jing Lu, and then she just continues getting debunked, and that's why it's an issue. Because I feel like Acheron really set in stone, like this whole power creeping being an issue for free-to-play players. Because now it's like, what's the point of summoning for your best, or I mean for your favorite character in the game? Like for me, my favorite character in this game currently is Seele. I made a pledge and a promise to myself that I will E6 S5 her, but it's a waste of money, and I'm aware of that, because she's not a boot hill, she's no Acheron, she's no Jing Lu, she's no Doctor Ratio, so it's a waste of money. But that's just me, right? And that's my point. It's like, wow, you're wasting stuff, you're wasting resources, you're wasting in-game currency on a character who is caca. And that's why I personally feel like power creeping is becoming more of an issue now, because I mean, hey, you know, it kind of forces people to become a meta slave with how hard content is currently being. Like, I'm gonna talk about pure fiction for a bit, but I don't want to talk about it for too long. Pure Fiction used to be a good game mode, but the last 3 Pure Fictions, in my opinion, are complete ass. And my reasoning is simply because Pure Fiction isn't a skill check. It's more of a character check, a DPS check, right? As for MOC, which is both, right? Pure Fiction is simply put, you have the character, you're set. That's it. MOC is a skill and character check, but more of a skill check because it's like you can clear with anyone. Can you clear Pure Fiction with a Arlen and get 3 stars? No, you can't. Can you clear MOC and get a 0 cycle with Arlen and get 3 stars? Yes, you can. There's my point. Take it or leave it. It's as simple as that. I get that Pure Fiction is catered towards erudition characters or AoE characters, but we can't really say AoE. We can say more erudition because Acheron has AoE properties to her, and they nerfed her in Pure Fiction indirectly by how it's, you know, made, right? So now it's strictly just you summon for an erudition character and you easily clear Pure Fiction. I currently have 2 stars in Pure Fiction and I don't plan on doing it again because it's just hard. And now I need to waste my resources in building an erudition character. Why? That shouldn't be the case because I'm a free-to-play player. I have limited resources. I can't just buy Trailblaze power unlike, you know, whales or light spenders, right? I just can't, right? 1, that's too much money, and 2, I'm wasting my jades and my in-game currency, and that cripples me and but the possibility of getting a 5-star, right? My 5-star card that I want to get. So this is the issue, right, with power creeping and Pure Fiction. I mean, that's just one of the issue with Pure Fiction. That Pure Fiction is a rant on its own. I might make that into a separate video if you guys are willing to hear me rant about it, right? But with all this being said, right, this is why, in my opinion, power creeping is a bad thing for free-to-play players, right? And then even then, if it continues at this slope that it's currently continuing in, it might be a case of don't summon for that character because they're not that good, right? Summon for this character, right? And I'm saying this also because I've been pretty active on Hoyo Lab, not as much as the last 2 days, but previously I really have been, right? And I would see these posts, and I would see some Discord messages too, where people are comparing their favorite character in the game to Acheron, and I had to consistently remind them that, hey buddy, no offense, but it's not that your character sucks, it's just that they're not Acheron. So they suck in game, but the damage that you're doing is pretty standard, normal, or a bit extra than what they're doing, right? And you know, it's a reminder like, hey, you know, your character doesn't suck, they're just not Acheron. And that's the issue, because it's going to continue happening. Now, this doesn't really affect you if you're a free-to-play player, if your favorite character is that certain DPS character, right? But if you're trying to be a casual free-to-play player, if you're just trying to be a free-to-play player that summons on characters who they like, then this is where the issue kind of starts, right? And then on top of that, if power creeping continues in this amount, in this slope that it's currently continuing in, right? Then there's an issue, right? Because now it's like, okay, I'm gonna submit for this character. No, I'm gonna submit for this character. No, I'm gonna submit for this character. You know, it's iffy. And I'm also saying this because 2.3 and 2.2 has me on a chokehold as well. Like, you're telling me that Jade and Firefly are in the same, I'm not gonna curse, but in the same damn patch? That is insane. That is dumb. I've been looking forward for Jade since I heard her name, right? Because I was like, wow, Jade, what a nice, lovely name, right? And it's just an issue. And then also there's so much to talk about this topic, but I don't want this to be an hour video. I'm on a time crunch, and I don't even think I'll have time to edit this video. So forgive me if it's not edited out. At least add an OST in the background, right? So you know, if you're staring at Acheron's beautiful face, at least there's a little calming song in the background, right? But if you guys want me to talk more about power creeping as a universal problem than more of a free-to-play problem, I'll gladly do it. If you guys want me to talk about anything else, please let me know. I've been playing this game since launch. I have a strong grip on how this game works. So trust me when I say I feel like my Opinions should be held to semi-face value or into consideration if you're a free-to-play player such as myself. All right. Damn it really does suck that the card might be swiped. But with all this being said, in conclusion, yes, power creeping is occurring more and more, and it's abundantly clear, and it's bad. It shouldn't be happening at this rate. It really shouldn't have, especially for support characters, right? The DPS characters, it's whatever, right? But it's just the margin that it's at is very bad, and the damaging and the numbers is very bad and poor. On top of that, I forgot to mention this. It sucks that I'm mentioning this now, but newer DPS characters are becoming a lot more easier to build than older DPS characters, and this is when the game is turning more into a damage check game than a skill check. There's just so much to talk about, but that's for another rant. I just wanted to talk about the summoning aspect and why this might be bad for free-to-play players. If it's not bad for you because your set character is the character that's meta, then that's good. But after then yeah, whatever. And with all that being said, yeah, like and subscribe.